Biloxi, Mississippi right off the map. But southern Mississippi rallied together and rebuilt, and now it's a world-class recreational playground that draws visitors from across the globe. On this menacing weekend, it was a completely different group of visitors that converged on Biloxi as Smoke in the Sound opened the 2009 Offshore Super Series. The racing surface was the unpredictable Gulf of Mexico, a course that not only invited wide-open speeds on the most dangerous and volatile surface in all of motorsports, but also the possibility of $200,000 in fiberglass and aluminum shredded in seconds. With impossibly tight corners at 100 miles an hour and zero visibility, offshore powerboat racing is one of the most extreme sports known to mankind, with these liquid gladiators separated by inches at wide-open throttle. A spine-bending 6 Gs pin the driver and throttleman to their seats, and in seconds, more than 5 tons of machine and the 2-man teams who drive them are pushed to the brink of destruction. Introducing the king of this fiberglass jungle, the 44-foot reptilian rocket that uses turbine marine jet engines and 3,700 horsepower to reach speeds of 190 miles an hour. When Miss Geico's traveling road show rolls into town, people generally take notice. This is one fire-breathing lizard with bad intentions. Miss Geico is 44 feet of high-tech carbon Kevlar composite, the lightest and strongest known to man. And at the business end of the boat, 2 turbine engines that build 1,850 horsepower a side. That's right, 3,700 horsepower. These jet engines burn jet fuel and sound like a 747 on takeoff, spooling up to an insane 22,000 RPM. A turbine-powered race boat can run the length of a football field in less than 2 seconds. The T-53 turbine engines cost about $250,000 each. Team owner John Hagan, a Kentucky horse breeder and industrialist, has roots dating back to the early 1900s in boat racing. His family's engine business builds racing engines for turn-of-the-century Gold Cup Unlimited hydros. Hagan is making powerboating history with a turbine-powered Miss Geico. Making massive horsepower is one thing, but putting the lightning in the bottle is something else again, and John Hagan has done just that. Driver Mark Granite and throttleman Scotty Begovich are best friends in and out of the boat. A dedicated crew has made team owner Hagan's dream a reality. The Geico camp was confident going into the first of 2 heats at Biloxi, totaling 144 miles of ocean. But there was another turbine force laying low on the Biloxi horizon, and this crew had one thing on its mind: a lizard hunt. JBS Racing's Jeff Stevenson spends just about every waking moment either thinking about or sorting out his setup. That's boat racer lingo for finding the holy grail of horsepower, drive positioning, finding the perfect propeller, and weight distribution. Stevenson uses 25-pound bags of lead to guide the ride. He'll position the lead ballast to water conditions and how much traction they're after, or how little. The goal is to run the boat as loose as you can without finding the point of no return. Team JBS has gotten stronger by the day, and at Biloxi, Stevenson had the reptilian rocket ship squarely in his sights. Team Geico opened the door with some regrettable strategy, and Stevenson wasted no time busting it down. They left the docks for Heat 1 overloaded with fuel by about 1,000 pounds.
As you saw, we were real heavy on fuel from the start. You knew we were off the pace right away.
Fire-breathing dragon boats on steroids. The 2 boats were finally freed from the tether of the pace boat, and the mighty turbines were unleashed as thousands watched from Biloxi's spectacular waterfront casinos. But the overfed Geico boat looked heavy in the water. Stevenson was on the attack and wasted no time spooling up to 190 miles an hour, opening the gap. By the end of the first lap, Granite and throttleman Scotty Begovich had one hope. They're absolute animals in the corners. Nobody slams the door in the turns like Miss Geico. The strategy was to make up precious seconds by smoking Stevenson and Joey Scrocky in the corners. But it wasn't happening at Biloxi. Stevenson and Scrocky drove the race of their lives and matched Geico second for second in the turns. They smoked Geico in Heat 1 by more than 30 seconds. The Miss Geico team was wounded by the first heat loss, but they didn't get this far by laying down. The second clash of these liquid titans would have a different ending when we return to Smokin' in the Sound.
Welcome to Biloxi, Mississippi for the season opener of the Offshore Super Series Smokin' the Sound. I'm your host, Martin Sanborn. Joining me, Charlie Hames. Charlie, we love this race course. It's a mix of rough and smooth water, really long straightaways.
Martin, this is the course this is like the NASCAR Daytona tracks, or the restrictor place tracks. You've got the long straightaways over 3.5 miles, extremely high top end speeds. But now in testing yesterday and today, the outside legs are rough. So that's a challenge for these guys to set up their boats, whether they give up a little on straightaway speed to be able to handle the rough water, or give it up on the outside for that top end speed down the front and back straightaways.
Now, of course, as they come running to the east, they've got to make a left-hand dogleg in order to set up for a big sweeping right-hander. Well, the other thing we've got going on here is heat racing. Each of the classes are going to run 2 sets of races, and it's really going to be the combination of the 2 scores from the 2 heats that are going to determine the winners. These guys have to do turn 1 twice at the start of a race.
And that's the challenge. A lot of the guys are kind of whining a little bit about, hey, I got to make that first turn 2 times. Nobody likes the first turn because that's where the bumping happens and things happen. But you know what? For the fans, for the excitement, for all you viewers out there, it's going to be an exciting day of racing with the 2 heats.
Well, let's head out to the race course, and we're going to take you racing here in Biloxi.
JBS Racing laid a beating on the fuel-heavy Miss Geico, which ran about 1,000 pounds overweight in Heat 1. OSS Series rules prohibit dumping fuel between heats, so Miss Geico fired up the turbines in the pits for a 45-minute jet ride to nowhere. By the start of Heat 2, Miss Geico was 90 gallons and 600 pounds lighter. Less weight, more speed. Things were about to get a lot more interesting in Unlimited Offshore. And at the green flag, both of the turbine boats take off. This is what almost 8,000 horsepower looks like taking to the water. Miss Geico and JBS. JBS on the inside, Miss Geico on the outside. However, Geico's going to have the inside at the first turn. JBS makes a great move, carries all kinds of speed, picks up where they left off after the first heat, well out ahead of Miss Geico. JBS with Joe Scrocky and Jeff Stevenson well out in the lead right now over Miss Geico, currently running in second position in the unlimited category. As they make their way to the east end of the race course, Geico dives hard to the inside, makes a fantastic move, pulls up side by side against JBS. Inside all that spray, Miss Geico loses visibility, goes back to the outside, and still has to chase JBS. That cost him some distance, but what a great move on the inside. Miss Geico carrying speed around the outside of the race course. They are on the extreme end. Miss Geico ultimately drives around. JBS and Geico takes the lead as they come back down Casino Row. Miss Geico definitely looks lighter as they come across their crew. Can clearly see the improvement in performance in heat number 2. In this 2-heat format, Miss Geico is going to have to win by more than 30 seconds, and although they're running perfectly, it doesn't look like they're going to have enough, and JBS is going to take first place overall.
The winners in Cat Extreme class and first overall for the day in Biloxi, Team JBS Racing. Jeff, you guys came out like a scalded bandit that first heat and just took off. What an amazing day.
Oh, it was awesome. It was so great to get out there. I mean, the boat was great the first race, and we were just flying. It was awesome. Probably the fastest we've ever been in it. And second race, we had a couple issues. It was about as nerve-wracking as it possibly could have been.